Twisted Tales.
Twisted Tales, hell, blood and bones and no cold trails. Twisted Tales, hell, true got teeth and drags their nails. Urban riding, back road sin, dead men talking through the wind. Cursed objects kill a law. Once you hear it, you want more. No fairy dust, no happy end.
Everybody, this is Jeremy. I'm here with episode 7 of Twisted Tales, and today I have a guest who has done it all in the world of the paranormal. He is a veteran of over 40 years. He is a man who has written books. He is a paranormal photographer, has worked with Nesper, with Ed and Lorraine Warren. I bring to you Mr. Haunted, Jimmy Petonito. Hello, Jimmy. Hey, love the hat, my man.
I switched last minute because I saw the beautiful promo you made. So I decided to match the promo.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, first off, I loved that AI image with you with the demons behind you and everything. That thing was so cool. I told Gwen we had to put it on the intro because I felt like it encapsulated a lot. So
let me tell you a little secret. That might be on some new sticker swag this year.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
If that's the case, I definitely got to get one for my sticker collection for sure, no doubt. You know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
I like giving sticker swag to the people that go to the events and stuff.
You know, that's true. And, you know, that's where I actually met you for the first time. We was at the UFO convention out in, I think it was Leominster or Fitchburg, in one of those places.
Leominster.
Was it Leominster? Yeah. And you did an amazing lecture to the point where when I had first walked in, all I had known about was ghosts. I had only stayed on that side of the paranormal. And when I sat down and I watched you and what you were doing with the Phantom Messages book and all that, it captivated me and actually made me interested in the other side of the paranormal, which is like cryptids and aliens and things of that nature. You know, so I got to thank you for opening up my eyes to a whole different part of the paranormal.
I didn't know that you saw the presentation.
Yeah, I sat in the third row.
Because I think that was the first time I ever did any kind of event ever. It was 2018 or 2019, and I met you in a parking lot.
Yeah.
You were outside because smokers go, not that you smoke, but smokers go outside and you just start talking to people.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought you were a guy in the parking lot. We started talking immediately, and then we added each other on Facebook. Yep. And then I say, how do you know my friend Ron?
Oh, Ron Zombie. Yes, sir.
Because we're from different states.
It's amazing when you can actually find a connection in between two people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird.
It really is.
And I could do a whole hour on wrestling. You could not even talk about ghosts, UFOs, cryptids. I have so many wrestling stories for you. Another time.
Oh, trust me, there will be definitely a part 2 because, man, I'm just so excited to have you on today, man. I think you're one of the most interesting and amazing personalities in the paranormal, to be honest with you.
I want to thank you for that because some people don't get me. And for the people who get me, I appreciate it. They ain't changing.
No, you shouldn't. I mean, there are certain individuals in the paranormal whose presentation is larger than life, you know, and I feel that yours is larger than the normal, you know, Jimmy that walks around on a daily basis. The Mr. Haunted persona, which you've built over the years, is definitely an amazing persona. You know, so
yeah, I was just telling somebody the other day. I type in, you ever Google yourself on the internet? And
I won't do it.
I put, who is Mr. Haunted? And it came up as me in the whole world.
That's amazing, man. So, just a couple of background questions, just in case anybody who's watching the show has never seen you before. How did you get started in the paranormal back in the 80s, sir?
Well, I was heavily influenced by, just like we all were, on TV shows when we were kids. And my favorite TV shows, much like others, we all grew up on the Addams Family, Munsters. I mean, we grew up with monsters. And Kolchak the Night Stalker, which was a show in the 70s that they based the X-Files on. I would recommend anybody go to they're all on YouTube now. Kolchak the Night Stalker, and he always stumbled upon a mystery. He was a reporter, but it always turned out to be a supernatural mystery. So he found a vampire was responsible for the killings, or a zombie, or whatever. And then this show called In Search Of was on.
Okay.
And well, first of all, my mom was huge. I always talk about my influences. My mom was a huge reader, and I was reading when I was like 3 years old. And she used to read horror and Agatha Christie and Alfred Hitchcock and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to read her books. As soon as she put them down, I used to read them. So I was influenced by that. And then my dad was a UFO lover who, when it was like suppose 9 o'clock was our bedtime, whatever. And then he'd wake me up at like 10 o'clock. Jamie, wake up. There's a UFO show on. So I'd sneak downstairs and watch them. It was very rare back then to have those kind of shows on. Wow. So one day they had a show called In Search Of Ghosts. And the Hans Holzer was the guy they were featuring that day.
Okay.
And he was saying that ghost, you don't have to go to a haunted place to experience a ghost. They'll appear wherever they want to appear, wherever they can appear if they want to. So I was very happy to hear that. And I immediately after the show, I got a flashlight and went down my basement. And I fully believed I was going to see a ghost, And I fully, I was searching for ghosts in the basement with my flashlight.
Yeah.
And I didn't find one, but it got me intrigued. And then I had one incident. You want me to just go? Just wind me up and I'll go. Okay.
Yeah.
And I had one incident that people that know me heard 100 times, but if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't be here right now. Jeremy?
Yes, sir.
I was about 10 years old. And my mom was having she was making dinner for some guy that was coming over. And she said, Jimmy, stay upstairs in your bedroom. I'm having somebody over for dinner. Don't come downstairs. Stay up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was laying on my belly, reading comic books, and listening to the radio. It was a baseball game. And I had my lights on and everything. It wasn't a scary atmosphere. Nothing. I didn't live in a haunted house.
Right.
But the radio started changing stations on its own. And even as a kid, I thought, the something's wrong with the radio frequencies or something. I thought scientifically. But then when I looked over, because it kept doing it, I could see the knobs actually moving back and forth through the dial, the big knob.
Wow.
So now I'm scared, but I'm more scared of my mom. I don't know what to do. So like I said, I'm laying there on my stomach, and I had my feet over my back like this, like bent over my back.
Yeah.
And so then something threw my legs down really hard like that on the bed. So I ran downstairs and I said, Mama, there's a ghost in my room. It's changing my radio stations. It threw my legs down. There's a ghost in my room. And imagine the horror on her face when she sent some new guy over and her little nerdy son came down with a story like that. And then she goes, get back upstairs. There's no such thing as ghosts. So I'm trying to say, Mom, do you believe me yet? What do I got to do here?
Yeah.
So then it got me interested. There was no internet back then. Now we go to college years.
Yeah.
And Ed and Lorraine Warren came to our college. It's like, mid 80s, late 80s. And now I always had a book when I was a kid with the ghost pictures in it. Like, and they said these are called psychic photographs. So then, and these Warrens people were showing the same pictures that I liked as a kid in those books I had.
Oh, wow.
And I said, oh, these guys are cool. So I never knew of any haunted places to go to. And they said there's a place right here in Connecticut that's very haunted and people are getting amazing pictures from. So then after that, when I found out how to get there, I started, I was under the impression that this white lady of Union Cemetery walked through those gravestones all day long and you could just take a picture.
Yeah.
I was wrong, but I bought a couple rolls of film and I waited for an hour or so. Well, there's no ghost. So I just took my rolls of film and left. When I got them developed, I got some creepy stuff. And then since then, I experimented with taking pictures of smoke, fog, breath and cold air. I took pictures of all different, what do you call it? All different atmospheres,
right,
to see why would these pictures come out like that. Okay. And I wasn't getting those little orbs or something. I was getting like people. They looked like people almost. So not every picture, but some of them. Right. So then I started accumulating them. I had a whole album. I call them my ghost pictures.
Nice.
And one day, there used to be like a dozen people up there on the weekends taking pictures in the cemetery. And one day, and you make friends with the cops up there and everything. One day, one of the cops was had my book open on my trunk of my car, and he was looking through them. And then this woman came over, who his name is Debbie, who's still my friend today. And she said, "Wow, these pictures are really good." She goes, "I work with the Warrens; they would love to see these." And I said, "Well, I just saw them at my college a while back."
Yeah.
So she invited me to their meeting the next Monday, and what's cool was some of my pictures that I had, they incorporated into their slideshow that they do. So it was like, the 1 year I went, the first time I ever saw them, and then the next time I went to see them, they were showing some of my pictures up there. And then I joined the crew.
That's amazing, man. How was it? That was my next question I wanted to ask you, was how was it working directly with Ed and Lorraine Warren and being part of the Nesper team?
There's been so much talk and drama and what's the word?
Negative energy or negativity
drama, whatever. I wouldn't trade anything for the world. Those are the best days ever. We worked with the best people. We went on the best cases because they were the go-to people back then. And we got all the best cases. We had the best people we worked with for a year. And it wasn't like now where people go, where people go out once a month or once every few months. They go to a house and check it out. We were full time. Like, this is what we did full time. Every week we were going to houses. Sometimes one night we go to 3 locations, to get their story or invest, 3 different houses to check them out. So it was like that for years. It was crazy. And those are good days.
It sounds like it. Now, are you still an active member of Nesper, or have you just
not so much anymore?
Okay. I mean, I know that when I was reading, I saw that you were like one of the original members of the Nesper team.
I mean, I was there it was cool when you didn't know, like, we were just investigators like everybody else. But you look now on what the people did just on their own. Like John Zaffis was just another investigator,
right?
Like me. I mean, Debbie and Larry, who did their own thing. Ralph Starchy, who I forget the name of his movie. But these are all just regular investigators, like me.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, for you to have actually had a chance to work directly with Ed and Lorraine. I mean, I only got to meet Lorraine for like a minute when towards the end of her time, because I saw her at a convention. I think it was shortly before she had passed in New Hampshire. But that's the only interaction I ever had a chance to actually have with them. So actually hear like real-time stories with you working directly with them, it's actually quite an amazing piece of history in my
it's funny, it wasn't like it is now. You think, oh my God, that was amazing, whatever, but we used to get made fun of. It wasn't like you were cool, it was like you were made fun of for doing what we were doing.
Now it's considered part of the culture.
Now it's cool, but really we used to go to a diner after 2:00 in the morning after a case or something that was far away, and people because they know who they were, and people would whisper just like in the movie, like little weirdos or
the people who are whispering, "Hey, you weirdos," are the people nowadays who stand in line to meet you and get an autograph and buy your book.
Exactly.
So, for me, it's like professional wrestling. You know how many people have like poked fun. Oh, you did wrestling, you did all that fake stuff, and then next thing you know, they're the ones who want to meet you. They're the ones who actually want to take a picture with you. So it's like, wait a minute, are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Are you a closet fan? I mean, what's the deal here? And I take everything with a grain of salt these days, man, because I try not to delve in the negative, because
the happiest moment you get in life is to when you don't care what people think anymore and just be yourself, and your people will come to you that are meant to come to you, and screw everybody else. Doesn't matter.
I do agree with you, man. So I was looking at the thing, and I see you used to teach classes in the paranormal as well. You were a teacher. So tell me a little bit about your teaching days.
Thanks for asking that, because that's part of my history. Because a lot of people say, who's this guy thinking he's Mr. Haunted of all the haunteds in the world? And all it started out with was when AOL came out, I was right when it started. It's in, you ought to pick an AOL name. So I was trying to think of like Ghost Guy was taken. I was trying to think of a ghost themed name.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Haunted was available. So I said, okay, I'll be Mr. Haunted on AOL.
Yeah. Then
they started with chat rooms, which I used to go into the haunted chat rooms, people talking about haunted houses and stuff.
Yep.
But then when I was in the height of assisting in exorcisms every Wednesday, when I had an infant daughter and a 3-year-old daughter, I got to a point where I said, maybe I shouldn't be doing this right now with, maybe it's not the best thing to be doing right now with 2 little kids in your house. But I missed doing, the kind of work.
Oh, wow.
So I said I could do the adult education at my local high school here. And I called it like ghost hunting, or I had about 10 different names for it. It was basically like ghost hunting. And really it was my opportunity just to talk about my cases and show slides and give them tips on, investigating and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I used to hand out a syllabus in the beginning of the semester.
Okay.
And it simply said, if you have any questions, email me at Mr. Haunted on top of it. I didn't say my name is Mr. Haunted or anything like that.
Right.
I said, one day, one of the people rose their hand and said, they called me Mr. Haunted. And I like that. I kind of like that. So that was the origin of that name and the school. I did that for 13 years.
Oh, wow. So when you were teaching, were you teaching like investigation techniques? Were you teaching like respect in people's homes? I mean, what behaviors and things like that? Or what kind of stuff were you teaching in your curriculum?
Even when I was young, I was never Mr. Know-It-All. I said, this is all theory, first of all.
Right.
And what I want to do is like this. Like I said, this was before the internet and all these TV shows were on. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, oh, you do it this way, and everybody else. They didn't have a resource to go to know anything about this. It was like the Warrens came to town once a year, and that was your whole show. So I remember I used to show the tools we used, which back then were very simple. The tools we used, why we used them, how to try to get EVPs. Talk about some of the cases I had, which that's what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was tell stories. We had a field trip the last class. That was always fun. We actually, it was amazing. It was one of the classes. I said, let's try to obtain EVPs. But I said, it's like 25. It was sold out every year, and there's 25 people. So I said, we can't just sit in one room and get EVPs with everybody talking, everybody around. So we split up. I gave people different areas of the school to go investigate and go like hide out for 20 minutes and ask questions. Mm-hmm. And back then we were using tape recorders, and they got cool stuff. Wow. They got cool stuff.
So, what were your go-to instruments for ghost hunting when you first started? Like you talk about, stuff was very basic, and I feel like the very basic stuff is what you're going to get the best and most genuine responses from, because I think that today's technology is a little too, over the top. And I'm not a big fan of all the bells and whistles and all the lights that go off. I'm more of an old school guy. I use like my dowsing rods and pendulums and my own personal abilities and stuff. But like, what were your go-tos?
Okay, I got 3 things I'm going to forget. They're that I want to talk about. Dowsing rods. Funny you mentioned that. I got tired of doing the same class year after year because it's the same 50 people or so used to take the class all the time, and I felt bad taking their money and doing the same thing, and they just wanted to get together, you know.
Yeah.
So I said, let's do what do I call it? I called it psychic school.
Okay.
So I got the the cards, the cards with the wavy lines and all that, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
so for every week we used to test everybody to see if they improved. Imagine it's like a muscle. If you don't use it, it's not going to get better. If you do use that part of your brain, maybe it'll improve. So we were doing those tests. I did I would cut out like a picture from the newspaper or magazine and put it in envelopes 1 to 10. Yep. And then I want everyone to write whatever feeling they had from those envelopes, whether it's a color, a feeling, a warm, hot, whatever they feel from the envelope, just write it down. Don't be embarrassed, right? Whatever you feel for that envelope. And this would be a picture of Humphrey Bogart, the other picture, a red car, and then afterwards we'd open them up and match them up. And I wish I had them all because they actually improved every week. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
And part of that, what's funny is this one lady, she's in her 80s. And every envelope she picked, she guessed like it was always a person, but like the 1920s. Yeah. Like those actors and actresses. And I felt so bad for her. And so the last week we're doing the envelope thing. And she wrote down red, blue, yellow, dancer. I was like, thank God. The last week, I had a picture of Jack Black being Nacho Libre. Yeah. And he was wearing the outfit in a pose like this. She nailed it. She got it. Awesome. I was so happy. But then the funny thing about that is I also had dowsing rods. It was like experimenting with everything. And part of that psychic school was using dowsing rods. And I put one time I did like a little rubber ball underneath cups or pouring to see how and I'm gonna say it was like 100. I want to say it was 100%. Everybody found that freaking thing with those dowsing rods. Really? They're amazing. It's like how is this possible?
I've never heard of a dowsing rods being used to find a rubber ball under some cups. That is pretty cool.
I made it up. Like I would get three like big, those Dixie cup things.
Yeah, kind of like the street vendors do the thing with the cup with the ball and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I put like a red rubber ball underneath one of those cups. Yeah. And then I'd have them come up with the dowsing rods. And I say, you say what you want it to do. Do you want it to open or close? Right. So I say, okay, they're going to close when we find the ball. And then you lift it up and every time. It's amazing.
That is pretty cool, man. Wow.
We did fun stuff.
So you taught for how long?
13 years.
Oh, wow.
2000 to 2013. And you asked what I used. Yes. Back in the olden days, my only thing I had was a 35 millimeter camera and a tape recorder with actual tape in it.
Okay, like one of those ones that sits on the table and you press the buttons and it would do the
and that was mainly for back in the olden days. Yeah. Remember when we first started, we were the like they used to get the Warrens used to get so many cases by phone every week that we listened to the answering machine on Monday nights of all the cases that came in, along with all the ones they already had. And we listened to a bunch of them, and if they sound promising or close enough that we could go by, we'd go out there first and scout it out. She sent people there, and then we just get their story. So you have your tape recorder was mainly used for just getting the people's stories. And then we did EVPs different back then. Like now, how you get them in real time. Yeah. We used to just sit and suppose this is funny. One of the first houses I ever went to, I totally expected ghosts to come out and punch me and stuff. It was terrible. And then they said, most of the stuff happens in the closet upstairs. So Lorraine says, okay, Jim, you're going to sit in the closet upstairs with the lights off. We're going to lock you in with your tape recorder. Yep. And sit there for half an hour. And you just sit there for half an hour with the recording and then listen later. Right. As opposed to now where you try to get, real-time answers. Right. And then I advanced. I got one of the first, what do they call them now? EMF?
Yes.
it was called a Gauss meter. I had to get it from a scientific catalog.
Okay.
And I was one of the first people that had that thing. And then I got a video recorder, which made me a real, that's what's funny because they call me like a tech expert. It's like, no, I just had some stuff.
Right.
Having that video recorder kind of put me on he's like one of the first people to get to go somewhere because you could actually record everything that's going on and, document it.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. I recently had bought one of those tabletop tape recorders. I found it at a flea market last year when I was looking around, and they had a bunch of tapes. So I bought it. I wanted to try it out. And I haven't gotten a chance to try it out recently, but I'm gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. Because I've used my phone, and my phone has gotten some interesting results at some points. But
I'm going to tell you 2 stories about EVP things. I was a little reluctant to use the new apps with all the, they're kind of pre-programmed and they already have sounds in there. And I understand the idea, but it's just like, how could you ever, it's kind of difficult for me to, like, if there's already stuff in there.
Right.
So,
so you decipher real from just sound effects and work in what's already pre-programmed, or?
Yeah, I mean, if there's already pre-programmed words and sounds in there,
right?
Yeah, but anyway, so it was me, Sean, and Eric. We're going to this abandoned building near my house years back, and they had one of the those newfangled apps,
mm-hmm.
and this abandoned building. They'd never been there before. It was in the back of my house in the woods.
Right.
And while we were walking around this giant building. It was sprawling, like probably a quarter mile. Those huge, long buildings.
Yeah.
And it said Bart Simpson, like under the. And I thought that was so corny, right?
Yeah.
We go into the next room, and there's a 6-foot graffiti of Bart. It was beautifully done. It was a 6-foot thing of Bart Simpson, right? Like it read the room somehow. Then it said like 1894 or something, and the next room was written huge on the wall. So I'm like, wow, there might be something to some of these. And then I used to play this dinosaur game on the phone. It was like Pokemon, but it was a Jurassic Park.
Right.
That's what I was probably doing in the parking lot in Leominster.
Oh, okay.
And I was embarrassed to say I was playing it because we were in there for so long. I have to catch up on catching my dinosaurs.
Right,
so I was lagging back from them playing my dinosaur game. So what was it saying? Oh, so then they said, Jim, they said the machine keeps saying dinosaur, dinosaur, dinosaur. That thing ratted me out.
Oh, Jesus. That's amazing, man.
Wait, one more. So then my kids, when they got old enough, they always wanted to go ghost hunting. I said, it's probably not responsible to, even if you just go into a supposedly haunted cemetery, it's probably not take them to a park instead.
Right.
But they got to a certain age, they wouldn't leave me alone. We want to go ghost hunting. So I said, you know what? We'll just go to our local cemetery down the street with the tape recorder, and they could try to ask questions to the tape recorder and see what they get.
Yeah.
So these kids on their first time, I wrote this in the last book. I wrote this chapter up. We got to the cemetery, and do you have any? It said, they asked if you have any messages for us or something, and it said left. Oh no, it said a name first. I don't remember what it was, Emily or something.
Right. So
I actually went to find that because I'm such a nerd. I had to go with my daughter to find that cemetery in the right grave, so I had the right name and the right directions.
Yeah.
It said its name, and they said, "Where are you?" And it said left. So we took a left, went down there, and then we come to a crossroads. Which way? Right. A couple of rights and a left. And then it said, "Where are you?" And it said, "Here." And then we looked down, and the girl's grave was right in front of us.
Oh my!
I think the first time these kids ever went, they got miraculous response.
Not just response, but intelligent response as
well.
Yeah,
like some people do this for a lifetime and never get anything, and these kids got it the first time. Pretty cool.
That is. I mean, like I said, I've witnessed both residuals, so that it's like the answer's the same thing every time, or they get stuck on a loop, and then you get the intelligent hauntings, which is obviously what you guys got when you actually were given directions to actually where the gravesite actually is, which is amazing because you don't get that very often. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, and it's great that your kids actually had that for their first experience.
Yeah, it was.
You know, so I had noticed a very interesting thing. It said that you were involved in over 50 exorcisms. Is that
Yeah, you know what's funny?
what's
Some
that?
people make fun of that and say I'm boosting my numbers, and that's because I don't care what other people do. Some people might like do a blessing on a house. They call it an exorcism, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 50 hands-on restraining exorcisms. You know, of a person, and that all started from after so long we started another group on the side.
Yeah.
Now, the funny part is because we were getting so many crazy cases with the Warrens, and the team was so big, they try to give everybody a turn going to houses.
Okay.
So, in 1 week, there might be 4 or 5 different groups going to the same house.
Mhm.
And we never, it was hard to follow back then on what's happening with it, what happened with that house, or, so I said, we'd like to do a regular ghost story with a beginning, middle, and end, so we could follow it from the beginning to the end and not get all these crazy, people walking across the ceiling speaking Latin. Like, we just wanted an old lady ghost rocking in a chair or something.
Right.
The first case we thought was regular, something like that, but it turned into a very violent one. And we wrote, it was at the late 90s. We wrote about it on our website, and somebody from ABC, and that's back when we only had those 3 big stations, really.
Right.
Somebody from ABC found our story on the internet about that case, and that was the first exorcism we ever was involved with. And luckily I recorded it, on video, and really good story. Anyway, they wanted to do an exorcism special that Halloween, and they wanted permission. They want we to use my footage and use the story, and everybody agreed. So that was watched by millions and millions of people, apparently.
Wow.
So we started we're just regular people working, have jobs and stuff.
Mhm.
We're getting emails all week long of these people all over the country saying this is happening to us, and we don't have anybody to help us over here. Or they're in Idaho, or
Mhm.
and it got very crazy. And we had about 7 people in the group, and that's how we got involved a lot with. Bishop McKenna was our go-to guy.
Yeah.
That's what Malachi Martin would be our advisor. He'd also give us cases also.
Okay.
And so after all these people started emailing us, we got with the bishop, and there were so many people that if there was 7 people in our group, we had maybe we had 20 people each that we were the contact person for. So we have to go through all of them and see which ones seem legitimate, which ones have some kind of proof, or they're genuine.
Yeah.
We had to see if they wanted to get help. Sometimes they say my husband is doing this, but he doesn't want any help. What are we going to do? We had to pick and choose and see which ones we could work with.
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, he trusted us enough that he said, you know what we'll do? We'll make Wednesday basically exorcism day, and every Wednesday at 4:00 until we run out of these people. I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it was, but I started counting them up, and I'm over 50. And like I said, our jobs were not only to coordinate, to befriend these people and figure out what's going on with them. They're looking to you, and that's it. You're the only person that's helping them. If they live far away, we had to coordinate. I was a kid. We were coordinating flights for people, picking them up at the airport or train. Had to bring them to the church, find a place for them to stay. And then we'd get the altar ready, all the stuff that it kind of became a thing. We learned as we were going, as we're doing it.
Yeah.
And then we had to get restraints involved, which is crazy when you look back at some of the videos that, probably wasn't the best idea, but it was necessary sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that for quite a while.
Oh,
I don't know if I answered your question.
No, I think you did, but my follow up to that real quick is because I got so many other things I want to cover with you. Obviously, um, when you got involved with the exorcisms, did were your nerves all cranked up? Were you like unnerved by getting involved in it? Did you do it trepidatiously? Was it something that you were like gung ho about doing, or were you just like, I don't know if I want to do this?
There's a story that I'm not ready to share yet with everybody, without the world, but I question everything.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I was growing up like, why are we right? Why is this religion right? Why is,
Right.
and do I even believe in God? That kind of thing when you're growing up and you're a teenager. And I had one incident that I asked for something, and the next day I got it,
Right.
and it was miraculous. So it was like a slap in the face. Like, I will never ever question my faith again because of that one day. Because there's people with cancer begging for, can you please help me? Whoever's up there.
Yeah.
And little stupid me said, I'm not going to believe in it unless I see something. And I got a sign the next day that was, I'll tell that story one day, but it's nobody will believe it. Anyway, so I have faith in this stuff, and I believe some of it's real. I'm not saying every single person was possessed or they're oppressed or
Of course.
whatever. There's definitely some real doozies in there, especially when they know something they're not supposed to know,
Right.
languages or information about us. That's scary. I forgot what your question was.
So basically, when you got involved doing
Trepidation, scared.
Yes.
Yeah, because matter of fact, that first video that I took of that first exorcism, you could see my face the whole time. Because I remember I was going, because I didn't want to look in the girl's eyes, because I've never seen somebody look at me with such hate. Like, we were just talking in the kitchen 15 minutes before, laughing, and then she's looking at me like I know I couldn't look at her face.
Oh.
And then I did have some stuff happen to me immediately after a couple of these in my house.
Yeah.
I don't even like talking about it because I think,
No, that's okay. I figured because you've done so many of them, I didn't know if it just became like normal, normal.
It became as normal as it could.
Right. Exactly. Well, of course. I mean, dealing with exorcisms,
it was definitely different in the beginning, like you said. Like, what are we doing here? We're restraining some lady from St. Louis that's talking Latin and attacking people.
No,
and then a year later, like, oh, let's get the restraints out again for this. Yeah, it does. You get as used to it as you can.
Wow. So, doing some looking at things. I saw that you also were doing a podcast called Haunted Chronicles. Are you still active with that podcast currently, or have you?
I started. Okay, long story short.
Yeah.
I was there was this show. This is when podcasts weren't even podcasts yet.
Right.
It was like an internet radio show.
Okay.
That my friend turned me on to in 2012. And the guy talked about all haunted stuff when it was live, which was cool because it had a chat room underneath, and it was like Facebook, but it was a whole chat room just for that radio show. And you make friends in there, and you can ask questions, and it was really cool. So one day, one week they had Ralph Sarchi on, and my screen name was Mr. Haunted in the chat. They didn't know who I was. So I said, hey, tell Ralph I said hi. So they go, Ralph, Mr. Haunted said hi. And then he goes, hey, Jimmy, how you doing? So then the next week, Johnny Zaffis was on. I did the same thing. And he goes, hey, Jimmy, how you doing? So then the host messaged me, he goes, who are you? How come everybody knows you? So I tried to explain. And then he asked me to be a guest on there, which I was nervous. I don't mind being a ham if I choose to be the ham. But if I get put on a spot and I don't like it.
Okay.
So I didn't think I would be able. I said, I don't have an hour's worth of stories. And guess what? I started babbling and I did an hour. And then they invited me the next week to do another hour.
Nice.
And then the producer said, do you want to do a show on here? I said, I don't know how to do a show.
Right.
I wouldn't know what to talk about or anything. So then I said, you know what? It'll be fun. Because when Art Bell retired, that was my hero. I listened to him every day.
Right.
And I said, yeah, you know what? Let's try it. So it was December 13th, 2013. It was a Friday the 13th. And I said, if I totally screw up, it's Friday the 13th's fault. I mean, it started from 34 live viewers, which I wanted to quit. I said, I'm panicking and getting nervous over preparing all these time for 30 people, you know?
Right.
And then it grew to thousands of people, not 50,000, but we grew to 4,000 live listeners a week.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
And we had a nice following. Nowadays, if I was on YouTube, we'd be making money from that. But it's you know, it got into it a little late with the, but yeah. So that network went off the air around the pandemic times.
Okay.
And I did some more episodes with another network, and I did a few YouTube ones. So it's still there, but I'm not doing it regularly because I'm concentrating on the writing now because I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into that. So, how many books do you actually have on? I found 4 of them that I saw, but how many books have you actually got pen to paper
on? Well, the 4th one is ready to go. I need somebody to help me do a little something for the cover for me, but it's all about cryptids.
Oh, from crawlers to giants. Is that what I saw? Yeah,
that's gonna be number 4. That's way out of my comfort zone, but it's my favorite one so far.
Yeah, I got Phantom Messages sitting right here with me. I just started getting into it. I have a lot of books, and unfortunately, I have like the attention span of a gnat when it comes to reading. So it's kind of hard for me to sit there and start digging through, you know. But I definitely have been looking at that one, and I saw that you also have the Mr. Haunted Origins book as well.
That's a nice one to read.
And Lights Out. Tell me about Lights Out.
Let me tell you about that. The Mr. Haunted. This is this I think I don't know if it's called Selfish or what I'm trying to say here, but when my dad died a few years ago, my dad was the biggest character with the most amazing stories. Like, I don't care if it's a ghost story, you know, I like stories. Most people do. Right. Like, if it's an amazing story, I want to hear it.
Yeah,
I don't care what the subject matter is. If it's a good story, it's a good story. When he died, I was like, all I have in my head is what he told me, and I wish I could have sat down with him and say, just tell me all these stories so I have them.
Yep.
So I kind of thought in my head, maybe one day my kids would like say, this is my dad, you know, like these stories here. So they're written down somewhere. So that was the idea of making that one. Actually, I don't care if I sold a copy. I said, you know, my kids will have something of me if they care.
That sounds cool.
That's why there's a lot of growing up stories in there, not all ghost stuff.
Right.
And that was basically my origin. Like, there's how I got the Mr. Haunted name and all that. These people always say stuff. And a lot of the good cases we had. And then Charles Rosenay, our friend, he was helping me edit. And he said, hey, you know, make sure you save some stories for another book. I said, no, I put everything into this. There's nothing left, you know. And then as soon as that book went into print, I want to start another one. So I started some more cases that I remembered. And then a lot of them were like my favorite guests on the Haunted Chronicles, but they had so many years of guests, great guests that was fun, you know, telling their stories in book form. So that book has I wish I had it with me because there's a lot of hidden gems in there.
Right.
Like, are you familiar with the guy that hit the white lady in the cemetery in Connecticut?
No.
With his truck?
No, I'm not. Actually.
We met. They were filming a sightings episode.
Okay.
About this ghost in Connecticut, and that's where I met him there because I was one of the people taking pictures in the cemetery for one segment, and then he was the guy that actually was driving. He was responding to a fire, and he hit, like, witnesses and everything. He hit a white lady dressed in white with his truck.
Oh wow!
It smashed the whole front of his truck, and then everybody went to find the lady. There's nothing there, and he went to reenact his story for the TV show. So that's where I met him, and it's funny because I've known him since 1992 now, and he says I'm the only person he trusts to tell his story the way he wants it, whatever. Wow. So he gave me the story that was never told before, the you know, what happened that night and what happened in his house afterwards. He had stuff happen in his house after he hit the woman, which was never told before. Man. So that's a really good story that a lot of people haven't heard. And I even got, because I'm a little nerd, I got bookmarks made, and I said he lives in Florida now, and I had him sign bookmarks. Just drive carefully,
Yeah.
and I got like 10 made. I said it'll be a nice treat to put in the books for people.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's something fun.
Absolutely. So, real quick before I get into a couple of things with you, so this year, I saw you're making a second appearance, like myself, to the main Paracon up in Augusta, Maine, the horror and paranormal convention that my friends Jeff and Ashley and your friends as well. They put on an amazing event. Like last year, they had a tremendous turnout, I believe. And you were definitely a big part of it last year as well. So, and this year, I'm actually looking forward to being up there again this year, and I saw that you were on the poster as well. Are you going to be talking it this year at the?
I think they're still figuring out. I think the first year, and I understand I'm not one of these big people who have like a TV show. I've been on stuff, but I never had a series or anything like that. So last year when they had the thing, I think there was like 2 or 3 people that were asking if I was going to be there to them. And they honestly said, we didn't know who you were. And they said, now that we're following you, it's like, yeah, here are kind of people, but they didn't really have a spot for me. So so this year they're definitely, they asked me to do something. I don't know if I'm like by myself or on a panel or something.
Yeah, I know that I'm going to be speaking on a panel. I'm not sure what direction the panel is going to be on, but I know that because I've been talking a lot with Jeff and Ashley, and I
don't know if you can see these.
I can actually see them. Yeah,
that's what I got lined up so far.
Oh, I think you sent me the picture. Like this is how we do it, old school style with the whole calendar. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I can't. Cool. I'm too old.
Yeah. So tell me about some of the shows and things you're going to be doing this year. So in case people want to come out and see you.
As far as I know, the first one is for me. Is going to be the Paracon, which Charles has asked me to do since the first year he ever did it. I think it's in maybe the 6th year now, something like the 6th or 7th. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. But that's going to be July 11th, and the new home is in North Haven, Connecticut, in a hotel.
Okay.
And then we got Nashua, New Hampshire, August 1st. With our friends, our psychic friends.
Okay.
And then we got the Greater New England UFO Conference, which I met you at. I think Susan's going to have it this year on August 29th.
Okay.
And I'm hoping to go to Exeter again.
Oh, wow.
Labor Day weekend.
Nice.
And then we got the big main one, which came out of nowhere, and it became the go-to place now.
I agree. And
how about that?
I can proudly say, because I've been talking to them, that my podcast is one of the official podcasts of the Maine Paranormal and Horror Convention now. I've been talking a lot with Jeff and Ashley. They're 2 really good friends of mine, and I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to spend some more time with you up in Maine. And I might come down and check out the Connecticut one. And Nashua seemed a little bit interesting because that's not too far from me. That's only an hour from me. So I was looking at Nashua.
And they're all fun. I used to when I first started doing these, I used to, because of course you want to at least break even when you go to another state. You have to stay over or something, and you don't have your room paid, and spending $500 to go to a place to, it doesn't make sense to spend $500 to make $100 in a weekend. What's the reason for it? And now it's like I just think you meet so many cool people there, and it's such a fun experience that I don't care whether I make $1. They're fun, and I'd rather do that than sitting home doing nothing.
No, that's true. I basically am going because I was invited to be part of their the panel, but I'm not. I know that they do an amazing event that they shook the foundation. I feel of how events are done nowadays because nobody ever thought they were going to do as big as numbers as they did as far as like people coming in the door and This year they have a very interesting group of celebrities, horror people, and stuff like that. So, I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's for sure. So one of the TV shows that I noticed that you were on that I really was interested in was your appearance on Unsolved Mysteries. Now, I was a big fan of that show when I was a kid growing up. Can you tell me a little bit about your episode of Unsolved Mysteries?
And for people that are really interested, I have a whole chapter of how that evolved. Tell me, it's like behind the scenes stuff, like how that got evolved and how the day went and how that happened and everything.
Yeah.
And there's a chapter. But what's cool? You don't appreciate it at the time that it's happening. Like this is the Robert Stack Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
Like holy mackerels. Another case we were working on, exorcism, a possession case. I don't know how they found us, but Unsolved Mysteries wants to do a segment. And if you know, it's funny if you type in Unsolved Mysteries exorcism, it's on YouTube. But
okay, yeah,
I learned a lot from that because they told us back in the olden days when you're a kid and you're scared, like they said, okay, the film crew's coming. Do not wear jeans. Do not wear this color. Like they wanted to wear like browns and greens and button up shirt. And so that's not me at all, Okay. So I had to go to a store just to buy clothes to be on this Unsolved Mysteries episode. And then now that I look at it, it's like I should have sworn what I normally wear because it wouldn't have made a difference. Like I tried to be a good boy. So like you can see me in the way I'm dressed in there. It's funny. So the film crew came and they were usually I'm the person filming the exorcism. And what's cool is they had a whole crew doing it like, with all the different angles and cameras.
Yeah.
So they were filming us do the exorcism. So I put my camera in the back of everything. So I have them filming us. I got the whole thing. It's so cool. So they started out with interviewing the woman out on the deck. And then it's really another like behind the scenes tidbit. I had they had a show that I was on the job, So they said, put your tape recorder on your lap like you're recording the interview. And I even remember I still have the tape recorder, but it had Sony on it. They had to put a piece of black tape over it because they can't have that name on there or whatever.
Of course. And
the tape recorder wasn't even running. It's so stupid, but we had to act like it was. So then they recorded the actual exorcism like that. They really did. It wasn't like reenacted. It was like an actual exorcism with the priest and everything.
Wow.
And they want also they wanted to do a segment where they sit everybody down and interview us. Mm-hmm. And I feel very uncomfortable with like I just think like I'm not being trying to be humble or anything, but I just don't like sitting there in the camera saying I let other people do that. I don't mind being a background person. I don't need to say anything.
Right.
And so they interviewed us. Mm-hmm. It was the coolest thing was they said back in the olden days, you had to wait for it to go onto TV. It's not like everything's instant nowadays.
Right.
So I still have the postcard. They sent me a postcard that said your episode of Unsolved Mysteries is, and they wrote the date on it with pen. They had to wait for it to come on. It was so cool because people at work saw it. The next day you're like, I saw you at Unsolved Mysteries. That was looking back now, it was like just Robert Stack Unsolved Mysteries was so that was definitely cool to put on the list there.
That is awesome. Gwen just asked me where people can find a list of your upcoming dates and your upcoming appearances.
I don't have any kind of list.
Do you post them on Facebook? Do you?
Well, I do. I post them on Facebook every so often. That's good thinking though. I try to promote like everybody that is having an event. I try to promote them every so often,
right?
Just to help them out. But I guess it would be a nice idea to put them all on a list so far. So yeah, check the Facebook out there. That's where the kids are going nowadays.
Check Facebook. I'm sure that it can be converted into anything that can be shown on TikTok or God only knows what else. But I know that you Yeah, we can't wait to see you too, Gwen. She said she's gonna meet us in Maine this year.
And I
so.
like getting invited to stuff. So if people have events and stuff, I like getting invited to those.
Yeah, you should be invited to everything, for God's sakes. I mean, the man, you've got quite the impressive resume. I don't know why anybody would be sleeping on.
Thank you.
So, I'm gonna get a question because usually I ask this question. I'm a big horror person. I don't know if you're a horror aficionado or anything of that nature. I always ask people what your Mount Rushmore of horror characters are. Your top your top 4 guys. If you have a list, or if not guys, maybe movies that you.
All right, I know I'm gonna think of better ones later,
Sure.
but ones that stick out to me when I was a kid that terrified me.
Yeah.
Growing up, the first one I thought of was Salem's Lot, with the
Yep.
what's his name, the vampire guy.
Oh my God, I can't remember. I just watched Salem's Lot probably a few weeks ago. Oh my God,
That was so terrifying because the older folks remember that was a miniseries on TV that they said when we only had 3 stations and everyone watched that. Like you came into school, it's all the kids were talking about with the kids scratching on the window. The kids floating there scratching at the window and that vampire guy.
Yeah.
I gotta put Pennywise in there, the original Pennywise.
Oh, Tim Curry. Oh,
I'm putting him in there.
Tim Curry not terrified me, but when I first saw the movie, like I appreciate the newer version too, but for Tim Curry, he looked like a demented birthday clown that was actually in the sewer, and you didn't quite feel. You're
talking about the TV series thing?
Yeah,
that was awful. That was awful. That was awful. You're right, but I mean the book in my head. The book was the Pennywise that I imagined in my head from the book. That yes, you're right. That TV series was awful. Awful.
I felt that Tim Curry did a great job with his portrayal of Pennywise. The book is definitely super.
And as far as the I love the movies, but I just wasn't a huge Friday the 13th, Jason and Michael Myers guy.
Right.
What the Halloween? Who's the Halloween guy?
Michael Myers.
Okay, I'm gonna put Michael Myers on there too because he was scary. Who's that? 3?
Yeah, that's 3.
And I'm gonna go way off the charts with not a monster, but a scary little boy named Damien Thorne. How about that one?
Oh, the Omen series. Oh yes.
How's that, Mount Rushmore?
That's a nice group of.
I got a quick story for you about him.
Please.
You know what's so nice about how we meet people at these things? You don't even know who they are. Like I was outside at 1:00 in the morning talking to somebody in the parking lot at the main one.
Yeah.
Just talking to the guy. We made friends. Talked for an hour out there. And then I didn't know that he was the Walking Dead guy. I thought he was a guy at the hotel. And then
Santiago, yeah.
I was at an event in New Jersey as a patron.
Yeah.
And I was, again, smokers go outside and talk to people. We talk to each other.
Of course.
And this guy made friends with me, and we exchanged numbers. And every time he had a cigarette, he'd call me up to go outside with him.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought he was somebody like me, just shopping.
Yeah.
And then I was walking around the place. He was Pugsley from the Addams Family.
Oh wow.
And then, who's the other one? Oh, and then this guy walked by in New Jersey again, and he had the coolest Nike Air Max, like the colors. I've never seen that combination before.
Okay.
And he walked by, and I just said, "Nice kicks, bro." And he said, "Thank you." With a little British accent.
Yeah.
Like, how cute was that? So then I'm walking around later, and guess who he is?
Who?
He was Damien.
Oh wow.
He was little Damien Thorne, the original.
That's amazing.
You never knew who you're gonna meet. I met the outpatient in freaking Leominster.
I got a chance to meet Mr. Haunted, and
holy mackerels.
I know that our hour is definitely up, and I appreciate everything that you've come on and shared with us today. It's been an honor and a privilege for me to have you on my show. And thank you very much. And we're going to do a part 2 where we can just do a wrestling themed show. That would be.
I have so many stories from you for you.
Yeah.
You like them.
Oh, absolutely. But you know what, Jimmy? Thank you so much. I'll see you backstage in a few seconds. And everybody, I am Jeremy Cotter. This is Mr. Haunted, Jimmy Petonito, and you are watching Twisted Tales. I'll see you next time. Gwen, take us home.
Thank you.
Thank you.